FOX34 Football Friday, presented by Cardinal Sports Center. It's 10 o'clock, and it's time for FOX34 Football Friday.
Here we go. It's the battle of the Antelopes. If Post can stay undefeated, going up against ABERNATHY.
Estacado trying to secure that first win of the season. How Joe Cluley's crew fared, hosting Hereford.
5A Lubbock High happy to be just 1 week away out from its season opener. How Shane Stevens' squad is getting better. And welcome to Week 4 here on FOX34 Football Friday. I'm Rob Averby.
And I'm John Sokoloff. A big night for the Antelopes. That's a plural right there, Rob and Brady, because undefeated Post hosting Justin Wiley's ABERNATHY Antelopes. Brady King, you were out there. How was it?
I was, and it was a defensive battle for a while, John. These teams have a history of close games. Last year, Michael Pittman's Post team beat ABERNATHY by just 1 point. So it was really anybody's game going into this one. Let's check out the highlights. Here comes the bold gold. Post would win this coin flip. First drive here, this Sladen Pittman pass lands right in the hands of ABERNATHY's Sean Rodriguez. Big momentum shift right off the bat there, but Post defense was able to get a quick stop. Both teams scoreless in the first quarter. Second quarter though, Post in the red zone. Pittman's handoff to Ashton Jefferson, who drives it in the end zone for a 9-yard touchdown. Bold Gold is on the board, 7-0. Later in the second quarter, Jefferson again, and this time takes the handoff from Pittman, and he's gonna go all the way.
Turning on the Jets.
Moving on up like George and Wheezy.
That kid is fast. They never looked back though. The Antelopes surviving their first test, 26-7. They're 4-0.
Alrighty, Brady, he's a heck of a running back. An 0-3 start perhaps was the last thing anyone in the Estacado football program expected after last year's impressive campaign, John.
Yeah, and Estacado certainly looking to get in that win column, obviously. Joe Cluley's club returning to Lowry Field tonight, hosting Hereford. Joe Cluley, those Estacado Matadors masking up, ready to go, taking those hostile herd. First play on offense. Direct snap to the wide receiver, TJ Steele, getting to the sideline and taking off. The UNT commit was not able to be stopped. He goes all the way to the house. That one's 74 yards for Estacado. You can't get better than scoring on the first play. That's at least what I always say. The cheerleaders are loving it. Next possession, Jalen Dobbins dropping back. Heaving one deep to guess who? TJ Steele, an absolute dime. This one from 64 yards out. Estacado goes up 14-zip. Joe Cluley, check him out right here. He is absolutely fired up. And the Matadors driving again. Dobbins finding Cameron Blewett over the middle, but the ball is stripped. Slade Heed coming up with the turnover. Hereford takes over after Morris Penobler recovers the fumble. A little later in the second half, the first half, Hereford trying to get going, but Oscar Guerra stuffed by Terry Johnson. Matadors going to win 41-6.
Alrighty, John. CROSBYTON taking on TAHOKA down south at Bulldog Stadium. First quarter, Chieftains with the ball. Eric Marquez, he'll brush off some scrappy Bulldogs and take it all the way for the score. On the board right there. They would get stuffed, though, going for 2 points. That happens every now and then. Later on, TAHOKA about to punt. Bulldogs botch the snap, and it's taken down by the freshman Jacob Gonzalez. And the head coach, man. He can't believe it. Things wouldn't get much better. TAHOKA's O-line struggling. CROSBYTON would force a safety to go up 8-0 on the road. TAHOKA, though, would come back. Bulldogs get the victory, 21-8.
Yeah, they're a tough bunch a little bit down south on the interstate. A little bit further up the road, though, New Home at home against Floydada. 30 seconds left in the half. Whirlwinds down 19-0. Not anymore. Matthew Morales getting some help from the Leopards, just landing in bounds for the score. New Home with the ball back. Bode Stewart doing his best Brett Favre impersonation, giving it back to the Whirlwinds. 16 seconds left in the half. That's no bueno, as my good partner Rob Verby would say. Very next play, Quincy Gonzalez dropping back, and he throws a pick. A turnover phenomenon. Junior Ryan Bundy does the best he could to get into the end zone, but he's taken down. New home would end up rolling, getting the win 32-13, Rob.
All righty, let's head out to Sergeant Slaughter Field. Sundown hosting Stanton, and well, this is one heck of an opening shot, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Coming right at you. God bless America. Stanton a little oopsie-oops in the backfield, and the Roughnecks recover. Andy Castillo comes up with it. Sundown would take advantage on 4th and short. The handoff goes to E.J. Hernandez, and he's in there. 2-point conversion was good. Check out the big guy, Carson Holson. He's a chugger. This time he finds Brandon Kinley, 8-0 at that point, and they went on to win it the final 34-26. The Anton Bulldogs hosting Lorenzo Hornets with the ball. Chris Quintana finds the big man downfield. Aaron Martinez on the next play. He's going to give it back to the Bulldogs. Anton driving down the field. Quentin Shard buzzes past the Hornets into the end zone for the easy score. And he wasn't done. Shard again running past everyone. Yeah, that kid can run. Anton with the 45 tonight. Look at him go. The final 49-0.
Almost a 50 burger, Rob, and I'm not even hungry.
I'm not either.
Whit Harrell taking on Sands. Second quarter, 8-6. On the screen from Riley Webb. Jordan Torres getting popped. Rodolfo Juarez. 16-6 a little later. Shamadrick Weaver rolling to his right, tossing an absolute cannon. He finds David Rodriguez, who catches it right at the pylon. It's a 23-6 ball game. Whit Harrell would not be done, though, Rob. Shamadrick is at it again. Instead of throwing it, why don't you just keep it yourself? You're athletic. You hurdle over guys again in the end zone. They'd go on to win 31-6, went on to win 56-6.
And IDALOU looks to keep the wins rolling. Coming up next, if Lofton's bunch was able to hold off those Littlefield Wildcats.
And the Estacado Matadors finally in the win column. High school analyst Garrett Luft will dissect Joe Cluley's bunch.
And it's year 3 for Roosevelt's head coach Matt Landers. We'll see if he can lead the Eagles to a perfect 4-0. Coming up next on Fox 34 Football Friday.
You're watching Fox 34 Football Friday with Rob Verby, Kurt Kaiser, John Sokoloff, and Brady King. Fox 34 Football Friday. First and most comprehensive. This is Fox 34 Football Friday.
There was a bunch of Wildcats tonight, Rob. On one side you have IDALOU, on the other you have Littlefield.
I think that's a popular nickname. Wildcats, Indians.
The number one in the country is Bulldogs, though.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Littlefield was looking to bounce back after a 58-6 loss to Post last week. Let's head to Wildcat Stadium, shall we? In Littlefield, home of Casey Cowan. Early on, IDALOU with the ball. Ryan Lorenzo, we said his name several times, picking up some hard-earned yardage. Big hit there at the end of that play. However, the Cats would turn the ball over. Eventually, they'd get the ball back and capitalize here. Inside handoff to Kelly Cook. He'll take it in for the score, and the green and gold strike first. More from the Cats. Play action, quick strike over the middle. Cooper Hill, you betcha. 14-0 IDALOU, and they go on to win easily tonight over Littlefield, 35-6.
All right, how about Southland hosting Wilson for homecoming? Both teams looking to get that first win. We start at the concession stand, down 14-7. Southland freshman Ray Flores goes coast to coast. He even stops to say hello. Check this out to our award-winning photojournalist before he gets formally greeted by the Mustang defense. There before D'Angelo Humphreys takes it right in your living room, bringing the Eagles within 1. Here's a look at Southgate's tailgating scene. More than what we saw at Tech last Saturday. Same score. Dom Varela decides to hang on to it, racks up those PPR fantasy points as the Eagles go up 21-13. LCU great Chris Dew donning the stripes. Varela once again with a night that he can one day tell his grandkids about. Mustangs looking at their first dub. They lead 72-50 in the fourth. It's a lot of points, Rob.
It is. I apologize for my slow work on the prompter. Out to Roosevelt where Eagles fly and touchdowns don't. Eagle D hasn't allowed a TD all year. First it's Michael Calazada playing like the late, great Reggie White. This time it's J.J. Diaz who says, not on my watch, not tonight. Young Eagles enjoying what they see. On Roosevelt's first drive, Alex Trevino finds Jacob Torres. Fox 34 instant replay reveals his foot was in.
Oh,
Check
wow.
it out.
Look at that.
Good work right there. Cheerleaders say hello. Homecoming court says he was not in. Needless to say, they're all fired up. This time it's Torres with the arm, just like Montana to Taylor in Super Bowl 23. He finds Diaz as the home team takes a 7-0 lead. Roosevelt rolling 33-0, third straight shutout.
Now let's go out to Dumas. Those Demons bringing out the pitchfork for LEVELLAND, folks. This one all defense, second down of the game. LEVELLAND airs this one out into Dumas territory, but the Demon D holds a little further downfield, a near sack on fourth down for LEVELLAND. Ball would be over on downs. Later, after a Dumas punt, the defense again. Christian Carrera coming up with the INT. Still no score though. On the next possession, we saw this kid at Lowry Field, and he can ball out. Spencer Williams firing a pass right at our camera, complete to Juan Romero. That leads to a field goal. Dumas up 3-0 later. The first touchdown of the game, a 20-yard scuttle by Brian Mendoza. The Demons ultimately getting it done, winning 62-26.
All righty, our high school football analyst Garrett Luff joins us now from the Double T 97.3 studio. Garrett, we've seen some schools in the area have to postpone games due to COVID-19, of course. What type of impact do you think this has had on some of those teams?
Man, well, it sure messes up momentum, especially if you feel like you're playing well. And I hoped we wouldn't see much of this. We've lost some great games. Brownfield, IDALOU, Slayton, New Deal this week at Shallowater Childress. Floydada, Lockney, one of the best rivalries, one of the nastiest rivalries that we've got out here. Didn't get to be played this year because of it, too. And then you actually saw this week Shallowater and Slayton's entire district, that also includes Brownfield and Denver City, move up their entire district schedule a week so they could have an extra bye at the back end just in case something like what happened this week to the Shallowater Mustangs happens and you've got to cancel ball games because of COVID.
Garrett, Estacado, not the start anyone wanted there for the Matadors. Certainly Joe Cluley feels the same way. They were 0-3. Coming into tonight, though, they really took it to the hostile herd of Hereford, winning 41-6. Got off to an early start, didn't really look back. What'd you see from the Matadors tonight?
Yeah, if you're Coach Cluley and offensive coordinator James Venn, it's like, all right, who's our best player? Let's put the football in their hands. They do that on the opening play. TJ Steele, the of course, a Division I wide receiver recruit, goes into the Wildcat, takes off for 75 yards, and then 2 plays later on their next drive, he gets a 65-yard touchdown pass from Jalen Dobbins. Steele was what you've expected him to be. It's great to see him healthy. That's important. But I think that's what the Mats had to do to sort of just break the seal on what's been a struggle for their offense. Impressive, too. The defense only gives up 6 tonight. Watch for the Mats to get the ball rolling a little bit here because I think they're going to be just fine.
Garrett, appreciate the time as always. We'll check back in with you later on in the show.
Now, back to Fox 34 Football Friday.
5A and 6A teams started scrimmaging, but they're obviously still waiting on those season openers.
That's right. September the 25th, the big day for Monterey, Coronado, and Lubbock Cooper. Lubbock High begins Thursday beforehand. All eager to begin their season. Our Brady King joins us on what the Westerners are doing to prepare.
Shane Stevens' squad at Lubbock High had a 1-9 record the past 2 years, but senior QB Brandon Smith says this year's team feels more like a brotherhood. And it helps that Brandon will play alongside his actual brother, Jason, this season.
It's the first time ever I played on varsity with him, so he's going to be playing left tackle, protecting my blind side, so to play with him means everything to me.
Brandon and Jason's dad is the O-line coach, and there's several other coaches' kids on the team too.
We like the family atmosphere around here, and I want coaches to feel like their kids can be around, and that's important to us.
This year has been different, but Smith and Stevens say it's brought the team closer, and the chemistry is coming along a lot better than in years past.
So like last year, we weren't really committed, so I feel like this year we're going to have a better season because everyone's committed, everyone's willing to put in the work.
The Westerners only won 1 game last season, but Stevens says his team is making progress.
We missed out on a couple games last year that I thought we could have won, which would have improved the record, of course, but we're definitely getting better, and that's the key.
More important than a good record, Stevens says, is teaching his team how to be good young men.
Men of character, that's the number one thing. And then the rest, it's just the details of the game that everybody focuses on, you know, the little things, being crisp on offense, being physical on defense.
Smith is the leader of the pack, and he has one big goal for his senior season.
I've never been in a playoff game, so to be able to play in one this year that would mean everything to me for my senior year.
I think he's going to have a great senior year. He's put a lot of work in, and I'm excited.
Lubbock High kicks off against Big Spring on September 24th.
Well, Slayton football had to postpone practice, obviously, and they've been away from the gridiron for just over 2 weeks due to an outbreak of COVID-19 cases at the school.
Yeah, but the Tigers are still finding ways to get some workouts in. Since the team is not allowed to meet on the field, Coach Johnson and his staff developing virtual practice routine for their players. Students are given personal workouts to compete at home and go over plays and film through Zoom meetings. The head coach knows it's not the same as being on the turf, but has his kids' best interest at heart.
This bigger than football. You know, your health is not more important than football. So that way they know that their health is a top priority and you're not just using kids to win football games.
And the Tigers will be able to get back on the gridiron next Wednesday before hosting Post 2 days later. Well, the Red Raiders on their bye week getting ready for the Evil Empire. Up next, Matt Wells on the engine that runs that Horns offense.
Now, back to Fox 34 Football Friday.
All righty, it's bye week for Texas Tech, but Coach Matt Wells is already laser focused on their next opponent. Go ahead.
Number 11 ranked Longhorns, led by quarterback Sam Ehlinger, the UT team, coming off a 59-3 win over UTEP. Wells actually said they've got a lot of different weapons they're worried about.
You got to start with number 11. He is, the leader of that offense, has been for quite a while. A lot of respect for Sam. His ability to throw the ball and pull it down and run it. If you drop a lot of guys and only rush 3, we certainly saw that last Thanksgiving. They've got several really good running backs, big wideouts as always. A few more tight ends, it seems like, this year that are athletic and strong and block very well. And then, a really big offensive line with some future NFL guys up there. So we'll certainly have our hands full.
Yeah, good news here. Former Red Raider Michael Crabtree has been selected for the Texas Tech Ring of Honor, joining Donnie Anderson, E.J. Holub, Dave Parks, Gabe Rivera, and Zach Thomas. So one of the best to ever suit up for the Scarlet and Black, John, going into the Ring of Honor. But talking about the current Texas Tech football team, after all, that was 12 years ago with Michael Crabtree. But obviously, you've got to shore up that secondary somehow, some way, because, Sam Ehlinger, Matt Wells is right. He can do just about anything.
Yeah, and with Sam Ehlinger, not only is it just, how great he is as he kind of acts like a halfback at some points when he puts his head down and runs the football, but also just his experience. He's been around since Cliff won that game in Austin to make them bowl eligible way back when. So, the Longhorns are a very, very dangerous team. We saw their offense erupt. It was at home against UTEP, so I'm not really going to make too much of a big deal about that. But you're right, Rob. The Tech secondary definitely needs to step up. Matt Wells, after the game, said they need to kind of have the mentality of a relief pitcher, where if you give up a home run, you can't let that really shake you up. You got to just forget about it and kind of have that type of memory with it. But I guess one small silver lining you can have with this is if they were to beat this team like 77-0, like they did Lamar 2 years ago, maybe they would have gone into the Texas matchup a little more, content. But now, like this time, they're going to be backs to the wall, really laser focused with a big sense of urgency as well. And hopefully they can have Tyree Wilson, the A&M transfer, and also Colin Schooler back on the field for that one.
What did you think of the offense, John? I know you were fairly high on Alan Bowman. I thought he was good. I think he can be better. What were your initial takes from that offense after that HBU win?
Sure. Well, from the 6:39 drive in the third quarter all the way to the end of the game, he scored on every possession for the Red Raiders besides the one where they went for it on the fourth down and didn't get it. But I'm kind of more like you a little bit here. I think Bowman was good. He did what he had to do. But, is he a difference maker fully by himself? We'll have to wait to see that. That was against a Houston Baptist defense where, let's face it, they gave up 57 points to North Texas the week before. Maybe it sounds a little harsh, I'm sorry, but for a Power 5 program and a Power 5 QB who was projected to finish high in the Heisman voting last year, I'm going to hold him to a higher standard. I think he did what he needed to do, but he still has room to grow in this offense that, frankly, he hasn't played much in.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Before the game, all the predictions that were flying around, right? I think we all had Tech scoring more than 35 points.
Yeah, no doubt.
And I think that's fair to say. There were some bright spots, though, especially with the running backs. And I think the receiving core is still strong. And the offensive line was pretty good, on the ground game as well. But, defensively, though, John, not just the secondary. We got about 15 seconds, but the D-line's got to get better.
No doubt. And A&M transfer Tyree Wilson, hopefully that can help out as well to get a little bit of the pass rush in there. But coming up next, we'll have score updates from tonight's games.
First and most comprehensive, this is FOX34 Football Friday.
The Matadors getting that first dub of the season. Couple early touchdowns from TJ Steele. They send Hereford back home. They beat them 41-6.
And Post coming up big in a lockup of the Lopes with a 26-7 win. As for the same names, IDALOU remains undefeated with a 35-6 win on the road.
Shout out Coach Lofton. TAHOKA taking down CROSBYTON at home. The Bulldogs laid on 21 unanswered points after CROSBYTON took an early lead. And now the real deal, new deal, Skunks Bovina 44-zip.
Quite the deal. Sundown takes down Stanton 34-26. It's a good rebound for the Roughnecks after last week's loss. And Whit Harrell lays it on Sands 56-6.
And with the six-man shutout topping Lorenzo 49-zip, the Wilson Mustangs race to their first win 72-50 over Southland. This isn't basketball, Rob Verby.
Looks like one. Looks like a score. Roosevelt replicating the Steelers' steel curtain defense with their third consecutive shutout, 33-0 over DIMMITT. DUMAS giving LEVELLAND the long 3.5-hour bus ride back home, a 62-26 win.
All right, we're now joined again by our high school analyst, Garrett Luft, in the Double T 97.3 studios. Now, Garrett, this is the last weekend. Now, next week, 5A and 6A schools will take the gridiron. What are you kind of hoping to expect to see from, let's just start with those Lubbock ISD schools, too. What are you kind of hoping to see from them? How much of a disadvantage is it that they had to wait so long to kind of get going, and what are you expecting?
Man, it could be a disadvantage. It also might be an advantage. I don't know. You've had all this time to prepare. The summer workouts were probably as involved and as intense as ever because kids were just so excited to get back to regular life. So in a lot of ways, you've had more prep time than ever. I'm not really sure what to expect, but I expect some really good football from our big schools in the area. And we get Coronado Friendship right out of the gates in week 1. It's hard to beat that one.
Hey, Garrett, I heard, and I don't know if we're breaking news here, or maybe it's been broken, Friendship and Cooper, I think week 3, are they going to play that game at the Jones?
I have not heard any confirmation on that. There's been a lot of talk about trying to do some things like that to allow more fans into the place where you can spread out and do things. But, I mean, your highlights show you that the small towns don't really give a rip about social distancing or masks, so you might as well just pile everybody in there and get after it. But, yeah, I don't know. That would maybe be more offense than we've seen at the Jones, certainly so far. I was only out by 58 points in my prediction last week about how Big Tech would win.
There we go.
Yeah. I think we were all off last week. Randy Rosetta, our good buddy for Hub City Prep Sports, actually told me that earlier today that he thought that game might be played at the Jones. But let's check out next week in the game of the week.
Well, it's definitely that Coronado Friendship game. I don't really know what to expect either from either team, really. We know that Sawyer Robertson will be really good at quarterback for Coronado, and you're going to have a lot of skill guys on both sides of the ball that are going to be strong. I think defense is where the big question is for the big schools because it's just so hard to kind of get on the field and adjust to some of those offenses that have had so many reps now at this point and practice that they should be probably more crisp than the defenses are. But we'll see who can show up and really perform well in that game. But I'm excited to see Lubbock High on Thursday night also and see what they can do. Certainly Coach Steven hoping for a much better year with his Westerners than they've had here in the past.
We're slowly running out of time here, Garrett, but real quickly, Cooper, we all know how everything ended with them last year, that one play against Aledo, but they've got a lot of guys coming back. What do you think of them real quick?
And there's probably nobody hungrier than the Pirates, so I think they'll come out very, very ready to really put it on some people and get a lot closer to where they want to be back in that regional final with a chance to play for a state title down the line.
All right.
Kobe McKenzie looks like a man among boys, too, out there.
I stood next to him in a gym the other day, and, yeah, he intimidated me, quite honestly. So,
Bad move. Bad move, Garrett.
Yeah.
Real bad move.
Yeah, no doubt. Right. Thanks, guys.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate the time. For John Sokoloff, Brady King, and everybody that helps out with this crazy show, thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next week, so long, everybody.